Today on RJ's Workshop, I'm going to start a series that I'm calling the Scrapmetal series. And to kick us off on the Scrapmetal series, we're going to work with road signs. Road signs are fairly inexpensive, they're easy to work with, and pretty versatile. These ones I got from the scrapyard. And I know I'm going to get a comment saying that you can get road signs anywhere for free. However, if you steal road signs off the roadway, you're a menace to society. Whereas if you go to the scrapyard and buy them, you're actually being thrifty and clever. So these ones, the scrapyard that I go to had a large assortment of them that were going in for recycling. And they're not in perfect shape. Some of them are a little bit bent up, so you got to work with what you got. The one thing with working with materials from the scrapyard is you don't know what grade they are. When it comes to aluminum, there's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 series. Some you can weld, some are formable, all have different strength characteristics. I have no idea what these are. So when you buy it, you got to be able to have a couple of different ideas of how to work with it. In this case, there's a couple of ways. I'm making a shelving unit to go on top of my TIG welder. It's a TIG welder. It'd be great to weld together a nice aluminum frame for shelving. However, again, we don't know if it's weldable. And second, getting this plastic coating off is kind of a pain. As you can see, this shelving unit is definitely more of a function over form item. You can see the scrap metal or the road sign in the background. That's fine with me. I've never tried painting this stuff. I don't know how it would work. So welding would be difficult on this particular material, if it's possible. The second one is you could form them. One thing I was thinking about doing is cutting off a piece like this and then taking maybe an inch, bending it over at a 90, and then it'll give me a good flange to rivet to. So I actually took and cut off a couple of scrap pieces and tried forming it, tried to bend it in the brake. And when you got to 90 degrees, the outside edge was starting to crack pretty good. So that was not very reasonable. So what I ended up doing is I had some 1x1 by 1/8 inch angle, aluminum again, came out of the scrap, and I just cut off lengths. For the shelving units, I cut off long lengths, and for little mounting tabs, I just cut off a little 1.5 inch pieces that I was able to rivet in together. So when you're picking up stuff from the scrapyard, again, you got to have a couple different ideas of how you might be able to work with it. For this project, which you'll see coming up, I bought 7 road signs for about $30. I used about 3.5 of them to build this. For this shelving unit, the design is what gives it its strength. I put this intermediate support in each one. The two sides, when I first put it together, it was quite flexible. As soon as you add a back to it, and then mount it to the top of the welder, it actually gets nice and stiff. This welder now has a home. It's not going to move very often. It can move, but I have long enough leads that I will be able to get all throughout the shop. So this will pretty much stay here most of the time, and it's far more organized than it used to be. Take a look. Okay, there you go. Shelving unit for the TIG welder. This TIG welder is going to have a home in this corner, so it's not going to move around very often. It'll be a good thing to have here. As you can see, it got me a lot more organized. These Stanley bins are great for holding all the consumables, things like that. I have 3 main things I have left to do this. If you own a TIG welder, you understand cable management is one of the biggest problems, and I've turned this into a nightmare already. Foot pedal, I'm going to make a hanger for the side, and then a place to hang the control wire on. Right now I've only got one hook down here that the ground and the torch are hanging on. So I'm going to put a second hook here, and then in the back where the second bottle would go, I've currently got all my TIG wire sitting in there. I'm going to make that a little bit more organized. But overall, like I say, I've probably got about $30, $35 in this unit. Function over form. I'm a little bit more organized, and everybody knows that I make things out of street signs now. Thanks again for coming out in the workshop with me. If you got any comments, questions, please let me know. Please hit subscribe if you're interested in things like this. I like to spend time at the scrapyard. We'll see what other things we can find. Thanks again.